Hey there, folks. This is Mitch Firestone with Precision Trading Labs in New York City. It is April 19th, 2024, and I'm here to bring you some trading levels for some popular symbols. Um, Also, a number of these symbols will be announcing earnings in the coming week. So I thought it was kind of relevant to kind of go through a few of those, particularly for those that have actionable levels that might actually get reached as a result of the earnings announcements. So that's what we're going to do today. All of these symbols that I'm going to present, they're going to be, I'm going to be describing supply and demand levels, which are the basis for our trades here at Precision Trading Labs. I'll talk a little bit about those levels here, but if you look at if you look below this video, you will see a link for a video that I had recently done that goes into some depth about the construction and the theory behind supply and demand. So if you take a look at that, that'll give you some further background as to what I'm going through here today. Before I go into anything here, the usual disclaimer, everything that we do here at Precision Trading Labs is for informational and educational purposes only. We are neither money managers nor financial advisors, and everything we're doing here with our subscribers is to help them become competent, confident traders. All right. So let's take a look at some of the levels here, some of the levels and some of these symbols here. First of all, if we take a look at the list here, a lot of these are the FANG stocks, or now with Facebook being Meta, I guess that's really more like the MANG stocks. But anyway, you can see the list of symbols here. And we're going to take a look at the first four here: Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Meta. If you'll notice here, these numbers here, these indicate the number of days until the upcoming earnings. So you'll see Microsoft and Meta. They will both be announcing earnings next week. So that's part of the reason that I'm going to talk about those today here. All right. So I'm going to start out here by taking a look at Amazon here, and Amazon, and actually when we look at some of these charts here, you're going to notice there's a lot of sloppy, very sloppy price action, and there are very few what I consider to be kind of clean, kind of hitch in the back of the head, kind of obvious levels here. Um, the exception here, though, is Amazon. Amazon, these are actually kind of two very clean, nice levels here. Um, right here, we have a drop-based drop here. This is a supply zone. Again, if you take a look at the video that I just mentioned, the link below this one, you will get an explanation of this. But essentially, what we have here is an exhaustion of buyers at this level here. And so right here, price, supply and demand were in balance, and then there's an exhaustion of buyers here. So when price returns back here, is the expectation that there is still some buying pressure that's waiting to be tapped here. And so we refer to this as a supply zone. So when price gets up here, we can express a bearish trade. The two obvious ways of expressing a bearish trade from this zone, of course, would be to short the stock or to buy a put. So in terms of the distance, this is a little less than 4% from current price here. And then below here, this is an area of what I consider to be more support than clean demand here. There is this might be demand here. In fact, it is demand. The thing is, though, prior to this, price had bounced out of here a couple of times, and that kind of chews some of this up here. So I would consider this to be more a level of support than actionable demand. So the next area of actionable demand, though, is a short distance below, and that's this rally-based rally formation in the 2-hour chart here. So in fact, that's about a little more than 3% down. So we have this area up here where we could short or express a bearish trade about 4% above here, and about 3% down below here, we could express a bullish trade out of here. And of course, that would be buying the stock or, of course, buying a call. Okay. And we can see right here, we're shouting that, okay, this is the 52-week high up here. So we're a bit below that. But anyway, that's the story with Amazon. And in fact, they will be announcing earnings in 10 calendar days. So that would be actually not this coming Monday, but a week from this coming Monday. So that's Amazon will be announcing earnings there. NVIDIA is actually kind of interesting. Um, NVIDIA is actually, the darling of the market up to a point, and now it's a lot of it. It's now actually taken a major hit here. And the thing that I noticed about this is, in fact, if I shoot this back to the daily chart here, we're back in the daily time frame. This was an area our subscribers and I, we were both looking at this, and this was really thought that this was going to be a solid demand zone here. And in fact, price is just driven through this like a knife through butter. And the thing that I notice right here is that we have a major gap, an unfilled gap here. And I believe this is actually the earnings gap that had gotten created. In fact, let me just turn on the indicator here. But this was a gap that had got created around February 22nd. And this actually kind of triggered this major rally in the market that actually drove it to all-time highs here. If I turn this on here, you'll see right here. See that cross right there? That's the earnings announcement, okay? And that was the earnings gap that had gotten created by that earnings announcement. And so the thought was that new territory for NVIDIA had been kind of created right here, and particularly once price had popped out of that after the earnings, about a week after earnings, it looked like this was now a kind of a solid demand zone and solid support here, and it's sort of a new neighborhood of price had been declared for NVIDIA. But in fact, now price has come back here and has driven through. And now we have this unfilled gap here. And the market is kind of is obviously now in a downdraft again. So I would not be at all surprised to see price drive through here. And at that point, if price ends up driving through here, and you're then looking at, so that's 752 at the beginning of this unfilled gap. You could see this thing actually drive through to about 680. This is that pivot right there. And then if for some reason if price does not get stopped by that pivot, then you're actually looking at this is really the first area of clean demand right here, and that's at 629. Okay, so that's a long way down. Okay, right now we're sitting at 762, and so one could see 130 points come off NVIDIA if in fact it ends up driving through this unfilled gap here, and then this pivot doesn't hold. It could turn at this pivot, but then at the very least, you're going to see a ride down to about 681. So that's about 90 points that you could see coming off of this. Could it turn from where it is now? Sure, but there's really nothing to really kind of turn it. Because again, this is just air below here. This is an unfilled gap. So if anything, I would potentially be looking at some sort of momentum breakout play to the downside from where this is now. Because again, there's really nothing to hold price up here. So I thought I would point that out. So we're going to be keeping an eye out for that. So that's the story with NVIDIA. If we take a look at Microsoft, right here we have a base drop formation here. Okay, so over here we certainly have an area of demand here. This green area, this is an area of support, but then immediately below here, there's an area of demand. In fact, let me just turn off. Let me just get rid of. Let me just get these lines out of the way here, and that'll make it easier. So right below here, there's an area of demand right here, and then after that, then the next area of demand is about 3.5% below. Okay, so we have this area above here. Okay, that's where the area of supply is to express a bearish trade about 4% up. And then below here, there's a clean area of demand about 3.5% below. And then right in here, this is also an area where price could turn. And so that's obviously that's 1% down from where we are. We're sitting at 399, and this is sitting at 396. So these are the areas that we're looking at for Microsoft. Okay, and the last one we're going to take a look at here is Meta. Um, so right here we have this pivot in the daily chart here. And it's also kind of represents more or less an area of supply here. This is a rally base drop formation, and it also happens to be a pivot in this particular case here. So that's sitting just around the 500 region, and you can see that's obviously a rather large candle in here. So that actually takes it all the way up from about 500 to about 512. Okay. So right here we have an area of support, okay, and again, the support could hold, but if it doesn't, okay, again we have this major unfilled gap here. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye out for that. Um, the thing that I would almost love to see is just to see this thing pop just a little, because then we could express a bearish trade right out of this pivot here, or this area of supply here. And that area is, what is that? That's about 3-4% above from where we are now. But again, if right here, this is an area of support. But if this support does not hold, it's look out below. Because again, there's really nothing to hold up price here. So I think on a couple of these symbols, with these unfilled gaps that are lurking below, you could see there could be some action to the downside on these, if in fact weak support that doesn't hold here. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. So at any rate, that's what I got here. This is Mitch Firestone. Thank you very much for the privilege of your time, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.